Pop punk is one of the worst genres ever. That makes no sense to me. This person said AI punk. Won't sugarcoat it. Hate this album. School bully music. What? Hello everyone, welcome back to Pretty in Punk. My name is Fiona. I am your host and girly girl guide to the world of punk, rock, and everything in between. I thought it would be fun to look at user reviews online of my favorite albums ever, but not just any reviews. Terrible reviews, the ones that rip these albums to shreds, because I just think it would be fun. I think it's gonna be funny, and I want to see what people have to say. I am insanely curious. I was inspired to make this video by another creator actually who did this with books, and I really enjoyed his video. I will put it on screen if you're watching on video. And I thought it was a really funny idea, and it sparked the idea to do this with my favorite albums. For all of these albums, I'm using the website Album of the Year because personally, I have found some of the funniest and like no holds barred reviews on this website. So I think we will have the best luck with finding some that are really funny and maybe unhinged. So let's get into it. I say we start off with my favorite album of all time. If you've been here before, you know this is my favorite album, Milo Goes to College by Descendents. I'm really curious to see what people have to say about this album negatively. So let's see. Oh my god. Okay. So I hate this album. Okay. Wow. But you still gave it a 45. You didn't even give it a 0. Like, I wonder what compelled them to give it a 45 and not a 0. This is kind of boring, but I can see how some might like this sound. Sounds like Loaded Diaper, but if they were bad. Sick cover though. All right, Loaded Diaper is pretty sick. If you don't know who that is, look up Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But damn, at least like the album cover. All the tracks feel the same, and it's so fast paced that the album didn't leave any lasting effect on me. Wow. Okay, I feel like if you've never listened to this genre of music, maybe the fast-paced short songs could be a little off-putting, but for me, like, that's what I like about it, and that's kind of why I'm drawn to punk, like, one of the reasons I am, so I don't know. It's just interesting how people, you know, have different perspectives on things. This person said AI punk. AI? Honey, this came out in 1982. What are you talking about? And then we have, most of this album sucks total. Like, there's some stuff on here that's really, really awful, not worth a listen. This person says, I just don't really like punk. Okay, interesting. Don't know why you chose to listen to it then. Sounds like a teenage version of Eric Cartman singing. I've never thought that. Interesting. All right, I think that's pretty much it. The rest of the reviews then just keep going up. Like, after that, we're getting to like the 70s and 80s, but wow. Okay, so that's it for Milo Goes to College. So I say we move on to Green Day. Now, Green Day is a band that is kind of like my gateway into the music world, but I don't really talk about them a lot on this channel, but we're going to today. So I think we should start off with American Idiot, because I think there's going to be some interesting reviews on that one, because if there is one thing about Green Day, as much as I love them, they have a lot of haters out there, and you know, I think there's going to be some interesting reviews on here. All right, starting off strong with a 0 score. Won't sugarcoat it. Hate this album a lot. Green Day is one of my, if not my least favorite band ever. I hate Green Day. Hate this band so much. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, there's like, wow, there's a lot of these I like can't even read on YouTube, because I would get, you know, this video would get taken down. The singer's singing sucks, and I find some of the lyrics kind of corny as hell. The songs aren't even good enough to be this long, and it's draining. The instrumentals are okay, but Billy Joe's vocals just stray me away from really realizing how good the instrumentals are. Interesting. American Idiot, the song is a masterpiece. The other songs are that's a lie. Let me tell you, look, say what you want about Green Day. Jesus of Suburbia is an incredible song, okay? This is so overrated and is so effing bad. Sure, it had one good song, but it doesn't mean the whole band's amazing. Oh my god, people are just People are so funny. Oh my god. Someone said Kids Bop Rage. Oh my god. Okay, wait. Jeez, I'm not getting into this. Okay, actually, you know what? No, we are going to read this from Couch Monster. Kids Bop Rage. Which is so funny because if you know, I found the song Boulevard of Broken Dreams from the Kids Bop version back in like 2004. So that's crazy. I walk alone. After thinking Dookie was mid and their newest was I decided to revisit which... yeah, I mean, I will say, as a Green Day fan, I don't love their newer albums. I decided to revisit Green Day's most popular album, and goddamn, this thing stinks. I'll get the positives out of the way first. Green Day is great at writing good and really catchy hooks. Instrumentals go hard, cool concepts. Okay, now the negatives. Firstly, I hate his voice. Wow, interesting. A lot of people hate his voice, which I get. He does have like a very high, kind of nasally voice in a way. So I feel like that's not really for everyone. So I guess I understand. Everything sounds cheaply produced. I definitely disagree with that. The vocal effects are... The songwriting is bland and surface level. The political messaging feels mute. Due to that, it feels like they sold out. They're trying to be really edgy. Overall, this one frustrates me more than the others I've heard, but sonically, it's not the worst thing in existence. Okay. They have interesting points, and it wasn't just, hateful. So, that was one of the more interesting ones to read. Sloppy. This is why punk rock is... You don't care about the sound, even if you somehow like this album. You don't care about this album sonically. It gets old fast. You think you like the occasional generic riffs, but you don't. You hate this album. Okay. Wow. I feel like I was just hypnotized into hating it. Okay. Wow. Pop punk is one of the worst genres ever, and I will stand by this opinion until I wither away and turn to dust. It's so interesting to me that people like hate something so much and then feel a need to like go online and like comment on it. Like there's a lot of things I hate, but I just ignore it. Like I'm not gonna go online and like comment on things that I hate. I just don't understand it. I really don't. Massively overrated. Thought this album was stupid and boring and overrated. Overrated gimmicky dog slop. Can't take this album seriously. It's a disaster. Wow. Guys, something tells me this type of music isn't for me. All right. Thanks for letting us know. This is actually funny, more like American Idiot. Okay, that's actually really clever. All right, most of the rest of the reviews on this album are very like the same and say a lot of the same stuff, but wow, okay. Honestly, it's kind of what I expected. I was expecting a lot of hate on it. Green Day has a lot of haters in this world, let me tell you. So in that vein, while we're on the topic of Green Day, I think we should look at some Dookie reviews too, because that's their other most popular album as well. So I think there's going to be some interesting ones on here too. Another I Hate Green Day, starting off strong. Really lives up to the title of this album, to be honest. Just listen to Florida Georgia Line or Luke Bryan. They're much better than this slop. Interesting choices. Boring, bland, uninspired, stale, and downright putting me to sleep. Favorite song when I come around. School bully music. What? This one's kind of long, so I'm just gonna read this. Gonna be honest here, I really don't get why this album gets the praise that it does. Dookie made 40 minutes for like 4 hours. Oh god. I despise Billy's voice. It's whiny, teenagerish, and annoying as hell. On this record, he hasn't found too much to complain about yet, which luckily makes his voice bearable. Okay, that's kind of funny, sorry. A lot of tracks are just fine, but Paradise City really stands out. There's a they mean Welcome to Paradise? Wrong song, buddy. There's a reason why it's used on 2 albums. Other things I like are Cool on drums, but the high school coming of age road trip movie intro songs, and of course the legendary All By Myself. Okay. That one kind of made me giggle. Sounds like a soundtrack to a terrible US teen high school drama. I mean, that I kind of agree with. I see that, but I feel like 90s and like 2000s high school movies always had like this kind of music in it. So, good point. This is the type of that cool kids on Disney Channel listen to. This is pretty much exactly what to expect with pop punk. Excruciatingly repetitive power chords and annoying vocals combine to create nothing more than easily digestible slop. Also, what the was All By Myself? Why he be sounding like that? I'm going to have to bleep out so much of this episode. Oh my god. Ooh, this one sounds good. Pop punk hater listens to Green Day, Part 1. I hate this band. I've already given them more than a chance, but I decided to revisit Dookie. And after a listen, this album is super mid, the vocals are trash, and the first 3 songs all sounded the same to me. I feel like if you want to make a constructive review, like, I don't know, maybe find more interesting words than mid and trash. Basket Case is the best song, I suppose, but that's better than I was expecting. I was really hoping to give this a 1 or 2, but honestly, it has some redeeming qualities, but his voice is so annoying, and pop punk is the exact opposite of my personality. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, and then we just have like more, holy Dookie, this album is Dookie. So I think we're gonna leave it at that, but there's some gems on here. I gotta say, I just need to like scroll on this more and see what people are saying about other albums that I like. So all right, next up we're going to move on to Turnstile because I want to know what people are saying, but we're going to start with Glow On because this album, like, I don't have one bad thing to say about Glow On by Turnstile, so it'll be interesting to hear what bad things people have to say. So let's do it. After about 10 songs, I could only groan when a new one came on. So turn it off. I don't know. The overdriven guitar just sounds exactly the same in every song, and it's right in the spot of irritation. The parts, for example, most of New Heart Design, without it sound kind of nice, but when that awful guitar comes in playing its flat first and thirds, I can't stop focusing on how out of tune it sounds. Okay, interesting. I've never thought about that. WTF is this? How come that high score? I'm like shocked. Like, this album's so incredible. Ooh, okay. Damn, this album is boring. I feel like this is the kind of situation where expectations of this album for me were pretty high, and reality hit me harder with one of the most impressive, generic, and pretty non-special rock albums. What? Don't get me wrong, I think there are some cool elements and substance to this record, but a lot of it kind of is hidden for how much this record doesn't know what it wants to be. And its execution makes me hug my bed till I almost fall asleep listening to this record. Wow, I feel the exact opposite because I listen to this album like every time I'm at the gym. Glow On is kind of messy. I understand why people would hype the living out of this record, but after every person I know telling me that this is a great album, it's not that great. Wow, it's shocking to me. Look, I get we all have different tastes, but like to me, like Glow On is like perfect album. Okay, next up we have cool instrumentals over corny vocals that can stick out like a sore thumb and just have no X factor or edge to them at all. Unfortunately, not for me. I disagree because I love Brandon's vocals. The guitar work on songs like Fly Again is just so cool though. Really an unfortunate listen. Wish it clicked better for me. Okay, well, she said some nice things. It's definitely rock music. Okay. This is a comfy nap I sure am taking. This blanket is so snuggly. Ooh, ah. Oh my god, wow. I can't. Stop. All right, everything else is honestly like not that bad. Yeah, I mean like there's some negative stuff, but honestly the critiques on this album from users aren't that bad, except for the ones that I read. Well, why don't we move on then to Never Enough, because I know a lot of people didn't like this one that much. I personally loved it, but I know that there were a lot of critiques on this one, especially from like longtime Turnstile fans, that it just like didn't do it for them. So I'm interested to see what they have to say. All right, first of all, this is like the soundtrack to one of those 2010s live action Disney teen movies. A lot of like Disney references today. I disagree. I would get that with like 90s, early 2000s, but I don't really get that with this. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even finish the album. Okay, well, thank you for the honesty. Every song just sounds the same to my ears, and it doesn't seem like it'd reward me to keep listening. I like shoegaze, I like hardcore, I like most pop, but this is just not it. How do so many people enjoy this? Interesting that you like all those genres, but it didn't do it for you. Ooh, I respect what they were trying to do on this album. However, I'm not moved by it. It feels quite corny to me and not what I expected for a post-hardcore album. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they did kind of steer away from like the hardcore roots, so I get it. A weird dream pop, pop punk, post-hardcore mess. Nothing landed for me at all. Nothing interesting. The vocals annoy me and the instrumentals are bland. If this is what alternative rock is supposed to be now, this is neither alternative nor rock. Okay. If annoying was an album. Okay, thank you Skunk Splits for that. Ooh, this one's interesting. My word, this is boring. This is like if Sum 41 and Coldplay had a grotesque child. Not grotesque. I'm sorry. Everyone who knows me knows I like Turnstile and I have such good memories with them, but this was so repetitive and I did not enjoy it. I get the feeling of being let down by a band you love. I understand. Ooh, another one. Biggest disappointment of the year. Wow. I didn't mind the dreamier, poppier direction of Glow On. In fact, that's downplaying it a little because I love that album. Incredibly catchy, without a sacrifice for creative instrumentals, but never enough. Only an ounce of the previous punchiness remains. Sounds incredibly bland, interesting guitar work. Where? I personally loved it, but like, I do understand why people feel the way that they do because it is so different from how they started out, but I do understand the critiques. I really do. I'd like a couple songs on here, but the bad ones just make me miss the old Turnstile so much more. Yeah, a lot of people like missing the old Turnstile, so I understand. I was hoping for some more funny ones on this one, but yeah, a lot of them were like really genuine. And seemed like a lot of Turnstile fans like in the threads. So I say we move on to a band you guys know I love, Misfits. So let's do Walk Among Us because it's in the background of like every episode that I film. And one thing about Misfits, like Green Day, I know they have a lot of haters. I personally love them. You know, I love the Danzig era Misfits. That's all I listen to. Sorry about it. So let's get into it. Let's look at the user ratings for this. I'm sorry to anyone who really loves this band. These kind of theatrics and themes are not punk. It's okay, I forgive you. Appreciate the influence it has, but most songs aren't nearly developed enough, and even though it's short, it gets very boring very quickly. Interesting. Someone just goes, Among Us. What year is it? Obviously a very historic album in regards to hardcore, but everything after a while starts to sound like mush and get repetitive AC/DC style. Astro Zombies is cool though. Honestly, the ones on this aren't that terrible. They're not that bad. Like, we're already out of the red. More Sus, more Among Us. Oh my God. Like, what? Is this 2020? What is going on? That wasn't too bad. So I say we move on to Static Age. Let's do it. Actually, already off the bat, this doesn't look too bad either. The worst user review on this is with a few standout tracks, this album is very boring. Valid. I could see why people wouldn't. It's not for everyone. Misfits are not for everyone. Oh boy. Okay. The biggest strength of this album is its instrumentals. Each one so fast paced, which I love. That's about where the compliments end. Danzig's vocals are tolerable for most of this album with some good performances, but most songs just sound like he's yelling. The lyrics are disgusting, disturbing, and unsettling, which I don't like whatsoever. I don't particularly want to add a song about JFK's assassination to my playlist and listen to it daily. I recall me, like, junior year me listening to that song on the bus, like 5:45 in the morning on the school bus. I think my biggest issue with Static Age is that each song sounds the same. So while they're good on their own, as an album, this is not great. Interesting, because I love Static Age. I feel like I was listening to the same mediocre song again and again. I will say a lot of the songs do have a similar sound to them on this album, so I could see why people... Okay, I'm back. My camera died, so I had to change my battery. But yeah, for the Misfits albums, there wasn't anything like too bad. So I say we move on. I would like to look at Cartoon Darkness by Amyl and the Sniffers because I loved this release. Okay, starting off strong with some caps. What the hell happened here? No, seriously, what happened? This is one of the most atrocious and thrown together projects I think I ever heard. Terrible lyricism that are more gross than anything. Riffs that range from generic and boring to downright painful to listen to because they're out loud and blown out. These guys are basically the Chats 2.0, and at least they could be somewhat funny. Just completely garbage to me and one of the most miserable experiences I've had with an album this year. Plus, I think I have tinnitus now. Jeez. As someone who loves the Chats and Amyl and the Sniffers, I wouldn't even say they're like that comparable. I don't know. Honestly, I just find this album insufferable. I don't like being a contrarian for the hell of it, but it sounds amateurish. The vocals are pretty off sometimes, and I find the lyrics shallow. What's supposed to be fun about a crazy Australian girl yelling in my ear? It's rude. Like Idols mixed with Wet Leg, this is such an awful album. The worst person you know's vision of what punk is. The only saving grave, I think he means grace, is how short the songs are because God forbid the abundance of creativity behind this thing could stretch themselves to make longer than 3 minutes. Wow. Damn. All right. Thanks, Amyl and the you gave me a headache once again. Jarring, annoying, irritating, any other synonyms you can think of. See, but like all the people that comment hate, like I want to know what they listen to. Like, what do you like? What's on your playlist? Because you know, let's take it back to Mr. Don't listen to this album. Listen to Luke Bryan. Like, you know. Oh my God, I get Major Emily. OMG, we can't take you anywhere. Vibes from this entire experience. From first sight of the album cover to the end of the final song. I find her vocals quite grating, which does not happen often for me. I also find this album to just be one note, and that one note is I just don't click with it at all. Not that we can't take you anywhere comment. Oh my God, it's kind of funny. Like I don't agree, but it's kind of funny. All right, well, the Tom York, which I'm sure is definitely the Tom York, says, God, she just did not shut up. Yeah, it's almost as if she's the lead singer of the band. Don't know what you expect there, Tom York. Interesting. Okay. On one hand, I hate this vocal. On the other hand, I love it. Okay, which one is it? That makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. All right. Other than that, then we start to get into the green, and then it gets a little bit better, but that one definitely, that one had some haters on there. Oh my God, a lot of them on that one I didn't read though, because some of them were kind of like too much, and I couldn't say those things on YouTube because, you know, they'd be taking this down. But I think that we call it there. It's almost 9 o'clock, guys. It's getting late. Well, for me, it's late because, you know, I go to bed at like 10 o'clock. But I had fun with this. So if you enjoyed this episode, please let me know, because honestly, like I want to look at more, but I want to save it for when I'm on camera so my reaction can be like genuine to everything, because wow, there was a lot. Anyway, I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow along the podcast, you can follow me at Pretty and Punk Pod on Instagram and TikTok. I post short clips on there and some graphics and stories and stuff, so feel free to follow along. You can also listen to the podcast on all streaming platforms as well as YouTube for video versions. But thank you so much for watching or listening, and I will see you next time in the next episode.